professionally organises soccer matches. As we have amply covered on this show, FIFA and its head, Sepp Blatter, have been engulfed in allegations of corruption. Blatter has been trying to clean up his image of late, and this week he was in Russia preparing for the 2018 World Cup, where he uttered words no human has ever said before.
First of all, I have to say thank you, President Putin. You make us happy and comfortable. Thank you for that.
Never happened. Also, I'm honestly surprised that they were able to touch each other without instantly creating a vortex of concentrated evil that sucked all of humanity into a gaping maw of eternal darkness. And I have to say, shaking hands with Putin when you may be facing corruption charges bespeaks a much larger problem for FIFA's top brass, because sometimes it seems they honestly may not know how bad their actions look. Take former FIFA Vice President Jeffrey Webb, who just last week faced charges of accepting bribes worth millions of dollars. He pled not guilty and was released on $10 million bail. But wait, just wait until you see how he came up with it.
He provided a Ferrari, 10 properties and 5 Rolex watches to secure his release on bail.
A Ferrari and 5 Rolexes. That does not look great when you're fighting corruption charges. His bail was apparently set at one midlife crisis. But there is nothing that is likely to be worrying FIFA more at the moment than the potential loss of the thing most precious to them.
FIFA admits it is having trouble getting new sponsors, and the ones it already has, well, they want a meeting. The CEO of Visa called FIFA's response to the scandal, quote, wholly inadequate. A few hours ago, Budweiser's parent company InBev joined that call. Also, McDonald's, another huge sponsor, said it is not satisfied and will not be without the transparency of an independent commission.
Wow. You know your organisation is in trouble when McDonald's says it is not satisfied. This is coming from the maker of greyish-brown meat circles, tiny condensed chicken steaks, and, once a year, the Shamrock Shake, a.k.a. a leprechaun's diarrhea. Finally tonight, we turn to Chechnya, Russia's Florida, in that it shares a border with Georgia and doesn't seem to have any laws. Its leader, Ramzan Kadyrov, is known for its human rights abuses, his close ties to Vladimir Putin, and his phenomenal Instagram page, where you can see him, among other things, attempting to make out with a deer. You can tell that even that deer is thinking, look, I'll give you one kiss because I'm a deer and I'm stupid, but shouldn't you be running a republic right now? We actually talked about Kadyrov back in May when he'd lost his cat, and he was asking his people to help him locate it. You may remember that we asked you to take photos of any cats you saw and send them to Kadyrov asking him, is this your cat? Now, apparently, he didn't find that very funny because, and this is true, he Instagrammed this photoshopped image of me in a Putin t-shirt with the caption, I'm tired of jokes, I want to care for cats in Chechnya, by the way, Putin is our leader. And listen, I'll admit, I'm tired of a great many jokes, but asking Kadyrov, is this your cat, is emphatically not one of them. But this week, I do have an update for you on Kadyrov, but it is not that he has found his cat. He hasn't. I'm guessing he's currently seeking comfort in the old Chechen saying, every time Ramzan Kadyrov loses a pet, the terrible forest wolves gain a snack. But something almost as exciting happened to him.
The regions were electing new leaders and local deputies. The most convincing result was shown by incumbent leader of Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov. He has more than 97% of votes.
Yes. Kadyrov won re-election with 97% of the vote. Not 100%, 97. It's a gentleman's dictatorial landslide. Turkmenistan's leader was re-elected with 97% of the vote, as was Egypt's El-Sisi, and Syria's Bashar al-Assad earned both his first and second term with, guess what, 97%. That number seems to sum up the tyrant's mindset perfectly. I'm paranoid enough to know that 100% is too high, and yet I'm delusional enough to think 96% is a real nail-biter. But Kadyrov's re-election is by no means the most eye-catching thing he's been up to lately, because cat or no cat, and to be absolutely clear, no cat. Kadyrov has had himself quite the summer. Just a few weeks ago, he held a celebration for Chechen Women's Day, and this is how he was dressed for dinner. Who wears a suit of armour to a Women's Day dinner? Congratulations, ladies. To honour you, I'm wearing clothing from an era when you had no rights whatsoever. You there, serving wench, bring me my Women's Day wine. And that was just the beginning. You see, Kadyrov has 3 young sons, pictured here being hugged by what is either Steven Seagal or a tomato with a goatee. It's unclear. We don't know for sure. But if you follow Kadyrov on Instagram, which you really should, you will know that he has been training his children and other boys in mixed martial arts. And if his unlicensed boxing gym for sweaty tots were not weird enough, and it very much is, this week he actually staged a series of MMA fights featuring each of his 3 sons as he sat there and watched. And I honestly don't know what I find more upsetting there. The fact adults are cheering on fighting children, or the fact that any one of those children could beat the living shit out of me. But wait, because we're still not done here, because this week, the same week he staged his child fight and was re-elected, Kadyrov launched his own reality show.
Мы приглашаем в республику самых одаренных людей, кто хочет работать на территории Чеченской Республики для блага народа, для блага нашего государства Российской Федерации.
Если вы уверены в себе, испытайте себя на прочность. Докажите, что вам под силу решать задачи государственного масштаба.
Ramzan Kadyrov lost this cat. The leader of Chechnya addressed his Instagram followers and asked them to help him search for the Bengal, which is the breed of the pet. So if you are living in the Republic and saw a similar animal a couple of days ago, now's the time to contact the head of your region.
Yes. The entire Chechen Republic was put on notice this week because its leader couldn't find his cat. I'm presuming he searched the most common locations for cats, such as lying in a sunbeam or staring right at you with murder in its eyes. And Kadyrov being upset about his lost cat is not good. This is a man whose security forces have been accused of kidnappings and torture, and whose Wikipedia page has an entire section dedicated to accusations of human rights abuses. And the mere existence of that is pretty damning. It's like having a subsection for 1997 forklift DUI, or aftermath of Howard University commencement speech. You don't even need to know the details to know that it cannot be good. But to get a real sense of Kadyrov, all you need to do is check his Instagram page. Because it's not just where he announced that he'd lost his cat. It's also where he keeps his 1.8 million followers updated with videos of his workout routine set to the finest European rave music. Cool. He's Kadyrov's basically like a can of Monster Energy drink come to life. And honestly, I cannot recommend his Instagram feed enough. It almost makes you forget that he was once accused of beating a prisoner with a shovel handle before executing him. Almost, but not quite. Because the main thing his Instagram demonstrates is how much he loves Vladimir Putin. Which, look at him, look how happy he is there. I've never been that happy. And look, it's hardly surprising. Putin appointed Kadyrov to the Chechen presidency in 2007, and in return, it seems Kadyrov is absolutely obsessed with him. Just look at him wearing this T-shirt with Putin's face on it. And then look at him in this other Putin T-shirt, and then this other Putin T-shirt, and then in this Putin hoodie. All of these are on his Instagram, and we're not even nearly done yet, because here he is in another Putin T-shirt, standing next to his friend in yet another Putin T-shirt, and here is another one where everyone in the photo is wearing a Putin T-shirt. And by the way, you just know that Kadyrov is looking over at his friend's sick green Putin T-shirt and thinking, I am so borrowing that. And you'd be right, because here he is wearing that exact same T-shirt. It seems from his Instagram, the only thing that Kadyrov apparently loves more than Putin, or Putin t-shirts, is animals. Because you can also see spectacular images of him holding a lion like a baby, snoozing with a tiger, having fun with a horse, nuzzling a different horse, cradling baby chicks, and holding whatever the fuck this is. Say what you will about Kadyrov, and Human Rights Watch certainly has. But the man knows what he wants, and what he wants right now is the return of this evolutionary farce of a house pet. And look, this is a problem for all of us, because when Kadyrov can't find something, he goes a little nuts.
Over the weekend, Kadyrov misplaced his phone at a big wedding held at a museum. According to Russian human rights group Memorial, the Chechen leader had more than 1,000 guests, including children, called back to be questioned about his phone.
I would imagine each of those interrogations began with the guest asking Kadyrov, "Have you tried calling phone?" Oh, no, you're right. You're right, calling back 1,000 guests is better way. But just think. If he is willing to do that for a cell phone, just imagine what he is willing to put the Chechen people through for a cat. So my point is this. We need to find this man's fucking cat. And we need to do it yesterday. And that is why tonight we are launching a campaign to hashtag Find Kadyrov's Cat. It's very simple. If you have seen his cat, simply contact him on Twitter or Instagram and send him a message reading simply, "I have seen your cat." If you have not seen his cat, then contact him with a message reading, "I have not seen your cat." And if you've seen something that looks like his cat, but you're not sure, take a photo and send it to him with a message, "Is this your cat?" Those are the only 3 things I'm asking you to send him, but we... Hello there. Today I'd like to speak specifically to Facebook users, but before I do, I'll give you a moment to close out of your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend's profile page. By the way, you're not imagining it. They are absolutely happier than they have ever been. So let's begin. Now, for the last few years, variations on this privacy statement have been making the rounds on Facebook, as many of you seem to believe that posting it prohibits Facebook from owning the content that you post. Unfortunately, you might as well be posting this picture of a sloth revealing a woman's cleavage, because it would grant you literally the same legal rights. You see, posting these statements is meaningless, no matter how serious their language may be. One of the more popular versions begins with the sentence, "I do declare the following." Now, let me stop you right there. And this is important. Just because you say something in the voice of a Southern debutante does not make it legally binding. I do declare, Mr. Beauregard, that status update about last night's episode of Scandalous Man alone. I declare it. Other versions cite the Rome Statute, a treaty that established the International Criminal Court. So it's quite irrelevant to social media, although I will agree that posting too many pictures of your ugly baby should be a crime against humanity. But not only that, a few of the messages being shared misspell it as the Rome Statue, implying that your Facebook page is protected by Bernini's Sculpture of David. And it's not. The point is, posting that message will accomplish nothing. But that's not because wall posts don't override terms of service agreements, or that Facebook doesn't own your content in the first place in the way the mainstream media would have you believe. It's because the only true way to protect your content on Facebook is by posting this video. Yes, the one that you are currently watching, starring me, John Oliver, as is clearly stated in the Social Media Profile Copyright Act of 1934, Section 6, subsection 2E, paragraph 4, the contents of one's social media profile, be it updates or status, Twitterage, Instagramming or photographs shared in a faith-based book, shall be protected if and only if one posts a video of a television personality declaring it as such. Said personality must be British man, occupying a late-night weekend time slot on pay cable, must have had at least one booty tweet ignored by Liam from One Direction, at least one, must have a lifelong paralysing fear of starfish. Holy shit! Take it down! And also must have lost his virginity at the age of 26 to the Grease 2 soundtrack. Check, 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 and checkity check. So, just to be clear, I am the most powerful legal weapon available to you. Use me wisely, and then, and only then, you may get back to your ex's profile page. And you're right, their life without you is an unending parade of absolute joy and fulfillment. Farewell, Facebook. Farewell. And I'm not saying that Obama's regulations had no effect, but researchers have found that they had very little impact relative to other factors. When they studied the decline in expected demand for coal from a decade ago, they found that nearly half of that drop was owing to the drop in natural gas prices, and another 18% was due to the growth in renewable energy like wind and solar. And there is perhaps no more dramatic evidence of coal losing out to solar energy than this.
Work has begun to power the Kentucky Coal Mining Museum, not by coal, but by the sun.
We believe that this project will help save at least $8,000 to $10,000 off of the energy costs on this building alone.
It's true, the Kentucky Coal Mining Museum is now using solar energy. It's like finding out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was brought to you by Smash Mouth. But the truth of their job is that most agents work alone, patrolling vast swaths of desert. And while some days feature bursts of action, others can involve absolutely nothing, which can be challenging in and of itself.
One of the larger problems is boredom.
It doesn't mean that it's never dangerous. There are bandits out there, there are drug organizations out there. What they're not really getting is preparation for the boring, non-risky reality of almost all of their career.
Exactly. Boredom is a significant part of life as a Border Patrol agent, and they should probably train for it. For every hour they spend in target practice, they should probably spend 10 hours watching Mozart in the Jungle. Are you funny? Am I supposed to care about you? Who's that woman with the oboe? I'm confused, but I'm also bored. But the point is that there was a lot to consider on Tuesday, and then, barring recounts, this nightmare of a campaign will be over, which is good, because this election hasn't so much appealed to our better angels as it has groped our better angels, mocked their weight, and called them sixes at best. We are at a point where this man has a genuine shot at the presidency, despite having blown up a political party, undermined confidence in our electoral system, declared open season on journalists, and unleashed a river of racism and misogyny. Also, and I feel like we've lost sight of this, he has really stupid hair. It's important to remember that. It is frankly hard to believe that there was a time when people thought a Trump candidacy would be funny, but there was such a time. Because as you may remember, 3 years ago, I guest hosted The Daily Show. And well, there is something you should see. And the thing is, optimism is nice if you can swing it, but you've got to be careful, because it can feed into the normalization of Donald Trump. And he is not normal. He is abnormal. He's a human, what is wrong with this picture? He sticks out like a sore thumb, and frankly, he even looks like a sore thumb. So giving him a chance, in the sense of not speaking out immediately against policies that he's proposed, is dangerous, because some of them are alarming.
Just some of Trump's promises: repeal and replace Obamacare, build a wall along the southern border with Mexico and get Mexico to pay for said wall, deport all 11 to 12 million undocumented immigrants in this country, including children, appoint a special prosecutor to investigate and potentially jail Hillary Clinton, temporarily ban Muslims and immigrants from terror-prone nations from coming into the United States.
Okay, stop. Just stop. Because it sounds like you're reading the to-do list on Satan's refrigerator. Which, of course, Satan no longer needs now that hell has frozen over. I do not agree with Theresa May on the vast majority of issues, although I will say the tone of some of the coverage surrounding her setback was more than a little sexist.
The face of Theresa May, the look of a woman defeated, heavily made up, as if she'd been in tears earlier, her voice cracking at times, I thought.
And if there's one thing I can recognise, it's the look of a woman defeated. It's the one my female colleagues give me any time I tell them to smile more in the office. Anyway, back to you in the studio, Angela. See, there it is. That's the exact expression I'm referring to there. Cheer up, old girl. You look absolutely miserable. But what does doing it Arpaio's way actually mean? Because Trump didn't just pardon him. He touted Arpaio's support on the campaign trail, even having him speak at the Republican convention. So Trump clearly doesn't seem to have any real problem with Arpaio's way. And for the record, it is far more than just the eye-catching circus that you've seen so far, and many people were affected. Maricopa County, where he was the sheriff until just last year, contains over 4 million people. That's a higher population than that of 24 states. And conditions in his tent city weren't just eccentric, they were appalling. Temperatures there could rise as high as 145 degrees. Food was limited to 2 meals a day. The key question here is, do the size of those credits sufficiently cover the actual cost of health insurance? Or are you left like a middle-aged man in a thong, horrifically undercovered? And to help answer that question, I'm sorry, can we just take that down? Thank you, that's much better. To help answer that question, the Kaiser Family Foundation...
She got kicked off the Watergate Commission. Here she is tonight, in public, pretending not to hate Catholics. Everyone knows, of course, Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she's taken a number of them.
How are you blowing this? It's a charity roast. In fact, just watch the face of the man sitting next to him after that first joke. It says something about how horrified Trump's speech was. That his expression is that of someone who just realised, my God, I've been shot. I've been shot. Now, Wells Fargo apparently fired over 5,000 people for engaging in this, but you do have to wonder, how did they all get the same idea?
They were incentivized to earn financial rewards under the Incentive Compensation Program. And we're hearing that managers even taught employees how to do this.
Wow, so the fraud was baked in, which I believe is the title of Martha Stewart's autobiography.
Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. And many political experts warned me that this campaign would be a journey to hell. Said that. But they're wrong. It will be a journey to heaven.
You heard right. He sees himself as a lone, persecuted saviour who started out in construction, is suffering on behalf of his followers, and will one day take them to heaven. We have known for a while that Donald Trump believes he's the second coming of Christ, but it turns out he might mean that literally. The only real difference being, with Christ we think, what would Jesus do? And with Trump it's more, Jesus, what the fuck did you just do? But Ryan was not the only outraged Republican. They lined up to disavow Trump's statements, each with a similar theme.
I have 5 daughters, and what Mr. Trump said is offensive to me and my family. My wife and I, we have a 15-year-old daughter.
I have a wife. I have a daughter. I have a mother. And I have 5 sisters. Although these were not my sisters, this wasn't my daughter, my wife, or my mother to whom Donald Trump was speaking, or of whom he was speaking. This was somebody's sister. This was somebody's daughter. In some cases, it may have been somebody's mother or somebody's wife.
Look, as the son of a mother and the husband of a wife, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? You're going through such an elaborate 6 degrees of separation exercise to arrive at someone with a Y chromosome that you can feel sorry for. However, there is one country that went in a different direction.
Here in the U.S., 50 Shades of Grey is rated R, meaning the kids under 17 must be accompanied by an adult. But the French are giving the green light to kids as young as 12.
Yes. France is allowing 12-year-olds to watch 50 Shades of Grey. That is maybe the Frenchest thing imaginable, other than a croissant sitting in a cafe eating a baguette, or maybe a mime feeding invisible cheese to his invisible mistress with a visible erection. And finally this week, there was sad news for a true American idol.
Radio Shack, the 94-year-old consumer electronics chain, has filed for bankruptcy protection. Half of its 4,000 stores will be turned into Sprint locations. The others will be shut down.
You know it's a rough day when 2,000 new Sprint locations is the happy part of a sentence. And look, sure. Radio Shack has not been in great shape in recent years, but it's easy to forget. It once ran ads like this.
So much more than just a store. The best in America, Radio Shack. Nobody compares to Radio Shack.
That is a catchy song, my friends. If they had left that on air, they'd be the most powerful company on earth today. Look, it turns out the woman desperately wanted an apartment, and the amazing thing is, it worked.
Maduro says his government will give Olivo what she asked for, an apartment.
You will get an apartment, and it will be given to you in the next few hours.
Wow. That is a fast government response and a pretty dangerous precedent for the president of Venezuela to set. Because now everyone knows if you want something, write it on a mango and throw it at his fucking head. And the crazy thing here is, it turns out this has been going on for a while.
A woman who's not been identified says it began in November. She told him to stop in March, but he continued to do it.
She tried to avoid him, even telling his security she was sick of having my hair pulled, and one day I'll snap and I'll punch him in the face.
Why do I get the feeling that his security guard's reaction was, oh, please do, that would be awesome. We're not allowed to, but we want to. And Bates is not the only one at fault. This is also on the Tulsa County Sheriff's Office for letting a 73-year-old man act as backup on a firearms sting. Because there are many things that we should allow 73-year-olds to do without putting up a fight, like use the phrase, the Hispanics, or get into fights over cribbage matches, or sign their name at the end of Facebook comments. But I think we can all agree, when it comes to law enforcement, to paraphrase Danny Glover, a 73-year-old man is literally too old for this shit. And finally,